Hello and welcome to Adhaesio. It is a tool that renders the music from Kingdom Come Deliverance by running the same middleware, that is the sequence music engine, and the same music. But instead of being the game, it is just a simple list of points in time with annotations that specify which music is supposed to start when. And then Adhaesio runs through this playlist and generates an MP3 file that you can download and use in your video or any other piece of media that you're working on. When placing KCD music into your video, you can go over your folders and start copying and pasting pieces of music, or you can use Adhaesio that does this for you. Just say when you need which music in your video and get it rendered, including our signature seamless transitions. This is where you define your music, and this is where you get to hear your music. I already specified the duration of the file to be 2 minutes, 120 seconds. Well, at some point I will make a proper user interface for that. And I already specified 2 pieces of music I want to play. One is Landscape Atmosphere 20 and the other one is Rate Atmosphere 9. And these names correspond to whatever we have on Spotify, so you can just come over here and check the names of the scenes when you are selecting them. I'm gonna hit render playlist as MP3, and now the server is processing my request, and in a moment it will return an MP3 file which I get to play down here. And this is a visualization of what the engine has, what music the engine ended up using. This is the dark lines are the main parts of the music, and the bright lines are transitions. As you can see that as we are approaching 30 seconds, we will soon hit the first transition. Well, first and only transition in this case. And the transition happens shortly after. There is always some kind of time you need to, some duration that you need to allow, because we have seamless transitions and they always take time until they are properly applied. Now we hear the destination scene, destination music. And actually, as we can hear, it is going to end, well, the ending of it would be somewhere down here, which is beyond what our specified duration was, so we need to end it somehow. And since we have seamless transitions, we cannot just fade out, or we could fade out. There is the option for that. You can say that you want to fade out, and then it would just fade out at this point. But we have something for this. We have so-called landings. So if you want to end an RGB scene, those things were RGB scenes. They called like that because we have those seamless RGB transitions. I have been talking about that elsewhere. You can specify that you want to do a landing, and the landing, it's just going to make a seamless transition to silence essentially. So when I hit render again, yes, right. So when we play this thing, we can just hear that the music is just going to take another transition, which is happening here again, like 100 seconds. So it would be somewhere here. So it took some time until the transition started. And now we hear the landing, and now we hear silence. So this is how you can like seamlessly and gracefully terminate the playback of the music. But we have more than just RGB scenes here. We also have combat scenes. So let's make our file a bit longer. So let's do 4 minutes instead, and let's say that we want to specify that at the time of 120 seconds, which is 2 minutes, we will start combat. And we have a few combat pieces, so let's do the so-called animal combat. It ended up being regular combat. It's just called animal combat for historic reasons. And let's go straight for the texture, which is the main part of the combat, and we can let it play for, I don't know, let's say 100, let's say until 200 seconds mark. And at 200 seconds mark, we want to transition to loss. Let's do a loss. And And at 2:30, we just want to make sure that we are going to be playing silence afterwards. So we can see there's a visualization of the behavior of the music, which is predicted from this sequence here. So what we have here, so we have our music which ends through landing. That's what we had before. And then at the 2 minutes mark, we will start playing combat. And we can see that there are 3 lines here. Well, that's because we actually have 3 layers of music in our combat, and they just get visualized like that. And it also shows that since our combat music is essentially a loop, and the loop lasts like a minute, we can see that there is a short overlap towards the other iteration of the loop. And I'm just going to skip here. This is the next iteration of the loop. And here at the time 200 seconds, which would be slightly over 3 minutes, like 3 minutes 20 seconds, we get to hear, afterwards we have the silence again. Sometimes it may happen that you line up pieces of music which don't really make sense. For example, you cannot put a silence after another silence. It doesn't make any sense. Or you cannot put let's say a landing directly after combat, because again it doesn't make sense, because landing requires an RGB scene, and combat is obviously a combat, so that wouldn't work. And other than that, if you need to quickly terminate a piece of music, you can always fade out whatever you want. So when you do this ZZZ ASAP, it just generates silence whenever you need it, and it just does fade out. It's not pretty, but it works. And also we have some cutscene music here, Beer and Women, for example, which starts, and when you do another one, when you choose another one, it just crossfades in there, because cutscene music doesn't have seamless transitions. And so when you want to stop playing the piece, you just need to silence it, like through ZZZ ASAP again. And you can also check the instructions for use. There are some more pointers here, including the behavior, which describes the different transitions that you might encounter, and the scene types, which determine what sort of transitions are going to happen. So yeah, that's it. All right, thank you very much for watching. Even though this is still a very early prototype, Jan Walter and myself are super excited that this is happening. I'm going to be adding more features and more music. Meanwhile, I'll be grateful for any feedback that I can get from you. Please try it, and the link is in the description, and see you next time. And by the way, it's my pleasure to announce my Patreon. I'll be posting all sorts of game audio things, including tutorials, pieces of technology for you to use, like this one, music design tips, music for download, sheet music in PDF, etc. So head over there and join now. Thank you!